Okay, I'm sitting down and I'm running through some different sorts of things, trying to figure out, you know what I mean, which is which, and making sure my numbers are right, etc. So I put together this chest of drawers, and I did it using the gray board, which offers, again, nice stability. I went ahead and did red on the inside of this because this is mine. This is one of those things where I'm making stuff this is for me. Then I put together this one, but you can see I did it a little differently. You can see in here I've used scraps of inexpensive paperboard from the dollar store. $1.25 a sheet is more than enough. And I'm like, okay, this has, I like some of the qualities to this. It's a little lighter. It's also a bit more malleable, in that the cuts go quicker. I mean, you do have to have a blade. I should close that. You do need to have a blade for it. Whereas if you're layering some of the paper to do that, you really don't have to. And if you buy, 4 or 5 sheets of gray board, you only put one in, kind of thing. But I wanted to make sure that this was something that I tried because I like to have alternatives. And that's mostly, that's just me. So you can see I constructed this a little bit differently. The only big change in the measurements was this piece on the bottom. And because of the width of this, which is almost 5 millimeters, this width of the foam here, then you really don't have to put anything too heavy. You don't have to put something as heavy as a piece of gray board if you don't want to. I think I might, just because that's just kind of how I roll. But again, I want to have like different choices that can be made depending on where you are and what you're doing. And then I realized when I was cutting this out, I forgot to indicate where the little poles are supposed to go. So I'm going to need to figure that out. Whereas on this one, you can see I put the little bee things on here. Which I'm not sure if I'm going to keep or not. Also on this one, I'm going to experiment because you can see that kind of cracks there where the folds are. I've done a little bit of research and found this one person who really specializes in putting these sorts of models and things together. And they're using watercolor to come in once everything is completely dry and then very carefully going over some of these little areas because you can mix a color. And like I said, I don't really have, I'm going to pull out my watercolor pencils and see what I can do with those as well. But these are the two pieces that I'm experimenting with today because they are in the list for the living room. The pieces that I'm going to be putting together, including a Christmas tree and the fireplace and the side chairs in wood. Those are these, but you can see these need some incredible cleaning up. So I think what I want to say in wood, I want to do something similar to this, have a version where, but I want to find the right kind of wood. I like this burl, but that's not for everybody. I want to find something that's like a white pine or something like that, a maple kind of thing, to have those different versions. And then also in notations, going through and looking at these outside lines. I would like to, in the dotted lines, the dashed lines for folding, having them be more in the same color family as the wood. So say for this one, I would choose a darker brown so that they aren't going to be, these dotted lines aren't going to be quite as jarring, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now for today. I'm also doing some experiments with the table. And I had talked about this one I used gray board for because this has a tendency, because it only has one piece in the middle, it has a tendency to bow, if it's just the paper or a piece of cardboard. So I was just doing a little drawing on here to see kind of what I could do. I think what I want to do though is offer some sheets and things with just patterns and things on them that you could use for whatever you want to use them for. That includes like these bottom pieces here, so you don't, that give this a little bit more stability. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now, and things are coming together very nicely. Ooh, I got some glue on there. I need to get that off. But pardon me, that's what I'm working on right now, and I'm really looking forward to getting these pieces done and out and ready for you guys to use, because I really think that having a little living room set up with like you put the little tree in, I think that would be really sweet. And I know Marielle knows that it's about the only time I make her furniture. It's during Christmas time or the winter. So thank you, patrons, and I will see you in the next video. Okay. Let me put that over there. I finished up the 5 pieces of furniture I was working on yesterday and went through all. I've been, again, making my notes about what sizes should be where, etc. And I've made some decisions about some things and some alterations that I'm going to do. But I wanted to show you these two in their finished form. I went ahead and left. I thought about like maybe putting sequins over these, but I was like, I really don't feel like it. So I just went through the bees and used just regular. Let me pull one out here. These are some inexpensive straight pins I got because I use a lot of pins without the head on them for lots of different things that I'm working on. And this was the one that I used the foam core board for. And this is the inexpensive stuff that you can get at the dollar store. And I really, really, really like how this works. So I'm happy about that because I have lots of little scraps of things that I can use. I used some of the painted paper for the bottom portions here, and I used just bamboo for these little legs. I used the paint markers that I have. I have some Posca paint markers, some larger ones that I got on sale from Dick Blick a while back, and these worked really well. But I also used the Artistro, which I really love these. I want the bigger set now because I'm using these a lot, and a few of them are getting a little, dry. So the Artistro, thumbs up. Hey, Artistro, if you're out there, I would definitely take a brand deal. There's some things like I have to go in now that this is dry and touch it up with some paint pen. And one of the reasons why I think the paint pen is working better on these particular prints, because you can see how glossy this print is. I think it just adheres better. I still want to try watercolor, and I'll do that at some point. But for right now, So I think I like the outsides, but not the inside of the little bee thing. I really, really like this one with the red. And I used a yellow to go over it. And it did a pretty good job of getting rid of, the harshest of the dotted lines. I think in the previous part of this video, part of the things that I'm going to change around is make some of these a little bit more like a lighter brown. You can see them, but then they won't show up too much. I did red on the inside of this one. And I thought this looked pretty cool. This is the tried and true gray board. So and if you're wondering, the reason why I add in the bamboo is simply to add a little strength to this. You can see I push it into the corner. I've contemplated a couple of other different fixes, but frankly, this just works the best. And it's the easiest, I think. You know, I can set this down and I'm not fearing that I'm going to crumple anything. And then I made some decisions. Here you can see I took out this third leg. The reason I took that out is I didn't think it needed it. If this were 3, then I definitely needed it. If it's just 2, no, I don't. So again, I used painted paper. I think the foam worked the best for these chairs, and I did the same method for both of these. This is 2 thicknesses of foam core that I just glued together, and I just wrapped it in some painted paper because I have lots of little scraps that I can use up on some of these test pieces. So I did the same sort of thing here with the feet. It gives it a nice solidness. I also went through, I originally had these orange and I didn't like it. I had that orange, I didn't like it. So I kind of went through and was kind of messing around. I now know that I need to take this and extend it to here so it looks right, because it doesn't look right here. And I did the same thing here on the bottom, which I think is a pretty, I mean, number one, you don't have to, if you're making this, if you just want to make the paper pattern, the paper furniture, and just be done with it, totally cool. If you want to go a few steps further and do some of this, again, totally cool. I like having more open-ended things, open-ended projects. So if what you skill level and time-wise are able to do is cut and fold the furniture and glue it together and set it up in a little room setting, or make a little cute little thing to sit on your desk or to give to someone, that's great. But if you want to go a little further, this is painted paper. You could use a magazine with a cool picture on it. You can use colored pencil on this inside part. You don't have to do this part. It's geared to what you want to do. And I think that sometimes that's the thing. I like having options, so I like giving options, but I think it's one of the many reasons why my patterns don't do very well, is because it's not a, here, do this, 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 and this. I have more faith and trust the creative wants and needs and skill levels of the people that I'm giving the pattern to do it in a manner that fits them the best. So that's one of the many reasons. There's some other things I've been thinking about too. In the design for this, I'm smoothing out this curve right here to just be one curve. And there's a part of me that knows that after the fact, if I want to curve that right there, I could do it. You just need a template, draw the line, cut it with scissors. It's not that big of a deal. So that's something else I'm thinking about. The table, I think I showed this to you yesterday. I kind of do like how this turned out on the bottom. But I found online, I did some searching last night, and I found some additional sorts of wood grains and some wallpaper and fabric samples that I think will look really, really cool. So I think I'm gonna put some of those on the site today on Patreon and let you guys take a look and see if you like anything, because I'm going to be picking and choosing and putting stuff together. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to be altering some of these. I'm going to be making this into 2, so it's a little shorter, cutting this part off, bringing it down to the bottom. So there'll be 2 versions of this. I could also now that I'm thinking about it, also cut it in half this way and move it together so there's one with 1, 2, 3, which I think would be cute too. So that would offer some different versions, because again, I always want to have different versions. I always want to have the option to do something else. like, you know, with this table, I just cut off about 1.5 centimeters of it because I thought, oh, well, this could be a table like this where you could, you know, put something here. It doesn't have to be the high table. It can be a low table. Also, there's part of me too that's like, I can mess around with this and make this the top part and do something else for the bottom. So yeah, there's me always messing around with things. So I'm going to be working on that today. Plus, because I've got on the list of things, I'm reaching over here, all of, oops, see, doesn't break. The blue here are my notations of things that need to be changed around. Like you need 2 for the foam core. For the underside of the chair, it's a 5 by a 5.1, or you could just do a 5 by 5, wrap it, stick it under there. Adding the wider stripe, measuring out, because for these 2 pieces, the dressers, the difference in width here makes it different for how those go together. Okay, armchair, love seat. The rugs, I've got, okay, I fixed the credenza yesterday. I need to make another copy of that. The coffee table thing I'm still working on. Chest of drawers, working on. End tables I'm working on. Christmas tree. I still haven't located which one I want to use for that one. And the side chairs, that's what I need to work on today. That side chair is the big thing I need to work on today because I'm putting together all of this and I found all of the upholstery stuff, so I can cross that off my list. So I have things to do today. Thank you, patrons, for sticking by me and helping me with all of this. Hopefully, I know that the money from Patreon this month is going to be used for more copies, so I can make some more examples of things. And then hopefully, after this room is done, I really want to start working on like the kitchen. I've been mapping out what I want to do with that, and I still need to get the newsletter out by the end of the month, which is going to be 2 months worth of newsletters. So you'll have lots of patterns and stuff that are coming along with the newsletter, lots of things that you can do. Yeah, it's going to be a really, really big newsletter. I really hope, because a lot of it's going to be pages where you print stuff out. Anywho, that all being said, thank you for being my patrons, and I will see you in the next video.